Hi, I'm Jennet Ingle, the happiest musician. If you're watching this on YouTube, would you go ahead and click subscribe for me? That way you always know when I drop a new episode, and it's easier for other people to find my channel and to become themselves happier musicians. Of course, if you are listening to this in the podcast Crushing Classical, you should be subscribed to that as well. Thank you. Today on the podcast, you'll hear a snippet of my recent workshop, Successful Careers Are Made in the Summer. I was honestly a little bit surprised and delighted myself at how impactful these journaling prompts were. They gave me a lot, and I had written the questions. So I hope this feels helpful to you as well. Please enjoy. Here's the reason for my workshop today. I feel like often for me, summer can feel really happenstance because this time that we're in right now, March, April, May, is some of the busiest time for musicians. If we're teaching, our students are, aiming for the end of the school year, the juries, the final tests, the prom. You're wrangling them into final concerts or recitals in some form or another. In your own orchestral life, if you're playing in that way, we're working on final concerts, very big galas, big splashy events, sometimes the most difficult concerts of the year. Again, if there are children involved with you, all of that school year chaos can absolutely be a thing. Somehow, this last month or so is just always nuts. And there are a lot of demands on our time from the organizations we work for, from the students we support, the clients we support. And it feels to me like every year I finally get through the very last thing of May, and I just have to sit on my porch, like looking at a wall for weeks sometimes to recover from the exhaustion. Yeah, exactly. Like just be horizontal and be blank for a while to recover. And if I do not have intentions set, I can find myself in the middle of June, in the middle of July, sort of going directly from that, oh my God, I have to rest, I have to recover feeling, right into, so what am I supposed to be doing? Because now I'm weirdly bored, I'm weirdly empty, I don't know what I'm working on. And so I really wanted to let us take our time to establish for ourselves some intentionality for the summertime. Because rarely, as musicians, do we really curate and create this time for ourselves. Sometimes we just sort of get into, well, you get what you get mode and sit around waiting for the phone to ring, hoping there is a gig, hoping there is an offer, hoping there is an opportunity. Sometimes we're just too exhausted from this spring to make choices. But maybe you want to create something. And if you want to do that, then just letting it happen is not really enough. The change of pace that summer provides for you can help to vault you forward. So things that are possible might include a really deep and intentional focus on instrumental fundamentals, if you're in that place, or on excerpts, or a 3-month package with a high-level teacher that you've always wanted to work with. I know, Kendra, you've got your thing lined up with Jason, which is super great. What about like a beta program launch for you? Something that you've always wanted to teach or to talk about in a low stakes way with time to develop it. So for me, years back, that looked like starting Oboe Reed Bootcamp. It was something that I had wanted to offer to my students, and we never seemed to have time inside regular weekly lessons to really dig in on that skill and get them adept at making their own reeds. So I created Oboe Reed Bootcamp in the summer specifically for them and developed it later. I know Catherine has attended it before, to be a pretty intensive weekend experience that is also a pretty good moneymaker for me in the summer. But that was not something that I had in mind when I started. I really just wanted to give my students a deeper experience than we had time to do during the year. So might something like that be an idea for you to create, to try on the idea of working with groups, to experiment with your own leadership in teaching something that you have not taught before or considered before. A thing that you can put together is a music camp for your students, if that is a thing that lights you up. This is something that could give them a refreshing change of pace, could get you more paid, and could act as a recruitment tool for your studio. But if teaching is something that is of interest, summer is a really lovely time to be doing events that draw more students towards your studio. Summer might be time to explore a hobby or a new skill that you've always wanted to develop. Like, could you spend some time looking in advance at who are the people that are teaching things like this? Is there a camp that you could go to? Is there something that you could explore, an online class or a course? What could you do? Summer might be a time for deep rest. Not just sleep, but actual refreshment. What does that look like for you? What would you need in order to show up as your absolute best self when things begin to ramp back up in September? And is there an opportunity to do any or all of these things? So today, I just want to slow down around the realities of the summer ahead and look at the goals in your career and use those overall big picture goals to create more intention and purpose in your summer. Okay, so my next idea here is a journaling exercise. I would love to just give you all a little bit of time to put in writing some thoughts for yourself. So I will read these out as well, but I wanted to pop them in so that, because I'm a visual person. I like to see the words in front of me. So what I'm going to do is be quiet for a few minutes, which is hard for me, to let you reflect on and ideally write on. I know Kyle's driving. Maybe you can voice to yourself or something. What are the current realities in your 2025 summer? Like, good or bad, anything. So the schedule that you are already looking at, the amount of time that you have to be flexible with, your own energy level at this point and your anticipated energy level when you hit summer, the resources available to you. And this, of course, includes money, because for musicians, our income often goes down kind of dramatically in the summer. So take a look at what those realities are for you. Maybe you're already overscheduled and exhausted, or maybe it's looking too open and too spacious, and maybe you have no money coming in. Let's just name what those things are for yourself. Then second, what are your top 3 goals for next year, for the 2025-26 season? Would that include more money? Would that include a better schedule for yourself, a more spacious approach to your portfolio career? Would that include improvement of your own artistic self, your artistic output? Are you looking to start a series of some sort, or to appear on more series? What are some goals that you're setting for yourself for next season? Are you thinking about going back to school? Are you thinking about creating something new? What are those goals? And I'll side note here that I'm a huge fan of goals. I love them. I'm a big goal setter. I'm not so bought in on goal achieving always. I like a really ambitious goal. I like one that is, 50% based in, oh yeah, I totally see how to do that. And maybe 50%, wouldn't it be amazing if I could? Because a big goal drives me to try to create big things. and a little goal that is achievable, I tend to achieve much faster than I think. And I'm like, okay, well, now what? I'd rather have a big vision. So I'll say again, what are your top 3 goals for next season? And then our final question that I'd like you to reflect on is, given the current reality of your summer, what are the biggest obstacles in the way of those goals? So maybe you feel like you don't have time to make any more money, or you don't have the structure in place to learn and improve, or there's just not enough money to do all the things you want to do. Like, what are the biggest obstacles that you are facing? And now I will be quiet and I will give you 10 minutes. Feel free to ask questions in the chat or live, but I'll shut up. Now, of course, journaling by itself, journaling by yourself, is all well and good. In fact, it's very good. It's good for you and good for everyone around you. But if you have found that you have identified some obstacles, if you have identified some goals that you don't know how to reach or obstacles you don't know how to get around, maybe this is the moment when you need a little coaching and support. If you would like, you can book a call from my website. We can get on a free conversation. We can talk about those things that are getting in your way and the ideas that you have for your summer. And if at the end of that it feels like it would be valuable for us to work together, I will share about how that could go. And of course, you always have a choice. You can find me at my website, jennetingle.com, and I would love to hear from you. Thanks so much for listening and have a great day.